Welcome to the Soul Workspace, a sanctuary for lightworkers, visionaries, and soul-led creators. I'm Andrea, and it's my honor to be of service. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode. So, I've been having this come up for, I don't know, maybe a few weeks now. And I guess you could call it a download, whatever spiritual term we should add to it, But it's been on my mind and it kind of started coming through to me for myself because being a stay-at-home mom is tough. I'm around my children all the time and it can feel like it's hard to find time for myself. I try to, have some time to stretch and do my breathing, and I try to make sure I have that time every day. But let's face it, it's not always going to go like that. And it came up for me like what I can do daily to help me become more present in the chaos. So, for example, say I'm having a day, or imagine for yourself, say you're having a day that's chaotic, or you've just been super busy and you know you need to have time for yourself, but there's just a lot going on. You have deadlines, whatever. We can always have good intentions, but life can happen. Maybe you really did have a set time to have to yourself, but then all this stuff started happening, right? And you didn't get to it. Instead of stressing about it, because I noticed for myself, if I start focusing on the fact that I'm probably not going to get time to myself, everything that happens just adds to it, like brings up like anger, frustration. I'm like this martyr, all this sacrifice I do all day long for my children and my family, and I don't get anything in return. I could have a lot of these repeating thoughts. But what if we just brought attention to the breath in any moment? And what started arising was realizing how we can turn the most mundane life experiences into a spiritual experience, into just spiritual, because really this whole life we're living is a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings in a human body having a human experience, right? But we can forget that. We can think, anytime we have these really crazy spiritual experiences, we can find ourselves chasing that. And then anything else in between that moment, from that moment to the next spiritual experience that we strive to have, right? Maybe, and when I say spiritual experience, like a meditation where we have this huge realization or download, or we feel different, we start experiencing things. I mean, it can go on and on. But just kind of wanted to throw in an idea if you're like, what do you mean spiritual experience? And so, but if we bring attention, so what do we do in between those moments? If we bring attention to the breath, it brings us into the present moment. And we can really start to anchor that same feeling that we get when we have those other experiences. Because we're becoming present, because God is in everything all the time. We can always have that experience, but because we think it has to be something else or at a specific time or it looks different, we're not becoming aware of what's already in front of us. We're busy doing laundry. Laundry isn't spiritual experience. We're cooking dinner. We're writing a paper. We're working at our job that maybe we don't like very much. And it can feel, and when you're not getting a lot of time to yourself, it can feel, that's when things arise like stress, anger, resentment, kind of those things I brought up when I noticed for myself when I would start to be like, I haven't had enough time to myself. Now, of course, those things are important to get away, especially as a mom. We got to have that time to ourselves, but we got to be real and honest with what's happening in our reality. Like, I wasn't able to because all these things happened today. But how can I bring awareness to my breath throughout the day? So, for example, I was doing the laundry, and I don't know about you, but it's not my favorite thing to do. And as I'm folding, I'm slowly moving my hands and I'm just bringing awareness to my breath, meaning I'm bringing awareness of the fact that the air goes into my lungs and my chest expands or my belly expands. And then I exhale and it goes back to the position it was in. So my belly expands and then it comes back. And that's it. There's nothing else you need to do. Maybe become aware, just kind of focus on 3 breaths, and it's your normal breathing. So if you realize you're having very shallow breathing, which can make us feel more stressed, then of course take a slow, deep breath. But this isn't about breath work, it's just becoming of the breath already moving in and throughout you without your effort. So what also came up for me about this was not only like finding that time for yourself in the chaos, but a huge realization that, like I said, like even the most mundane life experiences is spiritual, and to become more aware of it. We're not just rushing from one moment to the next. And that's how we become more present. It's not about presence, isn't about like forcing yourself to do something. It's more of just bringing awareness to what is already occurring. So, a lot of these spiritual teachings we hear, it's how can I do that? We don't necessarily do anything. And we can also find ourselves chasing presence. Like, I need to be more present now. I need to be, you're breathing, you're trying to be more present. There's really not a trying to be present. We are already present. It's just bringing your awareness back to where you are right now. So instead of focusing on the future of where am I going with my life, or trying to quickly move from one moment to the next because you don't prefer what's happening right now. And so you're not being present. So, just for example, I'm going to use a lot of stay at home mom references, but tied into whatever you're doing. I'm trying to hurry up and get dinner done, right? I know what I need to make, and I'm just trying to do it fast. But why though? I could come up with a lot of logical reasons, of course, because I got to hurry and whatever, get this done and this done. But it's funny, even if you slow down your emotions, we have this fear that it's going to take up so much more of our time of doing something that is wasting our time, that isn't preferred. And so we rush through it, not realizing that's not being present. You're just rushing from one moment to the next. And that feeling that you're chasing is right there in that moment. Peeling the carrots, peeling the potatoes, chopping, scooping, walking from one part of the kitchen to the next. And how can we slow down our emotions, become aware of our breath, and just slow down a little bit? Not meaning we have to be all awkward and slowly move, like, someone walks in the kitchen and they're like, are you okay? And you're like, I'm just trying to slow down, and you're moving like a sloth. Like, maybe that's a little dramatic. But bringing awareness to our movements, like, our breath becomes shallow, our movements become fast. We're just always in a rush. And we have to ask ourselves, why are we rushing? And when we always live like that, that's why we always need that time to ourselves all the time, because that the only time we might get to finally become aware of our breath and slow down is when we finally go on that walk in nature and we meditate. But if you're only able, now that is wonderful, don't get me wrong. That's definitely a must. But if we're not actually able to do those things regularly, because we all have a layer of complexity. So we hear those things, you need to set up that time, you need to meditate, you need to do those things, but each one of our lives adds a layer of complexity. Does that align with your life right now? I wish it did. I wish it really fucking did, but it doesn't. My husband is way too busy right now and we can't afford a babysitter all the time. So I have to think, okay, like I'll try my best, but I might have a day where all the kids were really needing me and I just didn't get to it. So, how can I bring more presence and awareness throughout the day to really anchor that calm and relaxation in my body and into my reality? It's possible. I noticed for me, I was like, okay, so I can't just talk about this and not actually practice it. And I noticed it was kind of painful, honestly, at first, because there's that fear arising, panic, anxiety. This is too slow. What I'm experiencing right now isn't what I'm supposed to be experiencing, right? I'm not okay with doing this right now. I'm just rushing through it to get to the next moment, which hopefully is more preferable. And it doesn't feel good. And so I had, like, my ego is like freaking out. Like, why are you slowing down right now, peeling this potato so freaking slowly? You're driving me crazy. And especially if you're always kind of a fast paced person, this can be very painful at first. It can be very hard. Like, I'm still doing it. I've been practicing awareness of breath just because, having a 4-year old and an 18-month-old, and now my older boys have been arguing all the time, like, oh my gosh, I really like need to but the slowing down has been really hard for me. And I noticed as a mom, I'm rushing my kids all the time, like, hurry up, get your shoes on, like, hurry, hurry, hurry. It's always hurry, hurry, hurry. And I'm not trying to put that on them because I don't want them to be like this too and have this issue of hurrying, but it's hard. And I just want to share that I am still struggling. Not, I never come to this podcast thinking that, oh man, guys, I have figured it out. So here you go. It's like, no, I am still very much struggling with all these things, but I share this because I know if you try this too, you might have similar things that arise, and to just keep going because your subconscious mind isn't used to it. You have almost like a negative bank account of presence, or what do we want to call it? Like, you're in the negative right now of that type of experience of slowing down. And so you start to slow down more regularly and you're making those deposits into your negative bank account, but it's going towards the positive, but it's still negative. So your experience of slowing down might not feel positive yet. So as you make more deposits, before you know it, you're going to start like experiencing the positive results of you doing this regularly. So And that can be so helpful when you're in creation mode. Like if you're an entrepreneur and you really have a lot going on and but you love what you do, it can be hard. It can be an interesting time because, okay, I'm doing all this work that I love, but how much of it are you bringing presence and awareness and slowing down for yourself? Your self care as a part of like self care, realizing that self care is part of the path of growing your business. It's not always like, okay, here's some self care. Okay, now we're going to respond to the emails. We're going to post the videos. We're going to record the podcast. We're going to write the passages of my book. Like every day we tune into our bodies. What do I need? What do you need, body? We don't bypass the body. Body is part of the spiritual experience and the healing journey and just being a human. So when we start to bring that awareness, we're going to start becoming more aware of what our body needs. And to continue that, before we step into creation mode, we need to ask our bodies, can you do this right now? Is this what you want to do? Do you need something else? Do I need to bring some slow breathing as I'm creating? Or does my body need something completely else? Like today, my baby was taking a nap and my logical brain is like, now it's time to get shit done. But my body was like, fuck no, I need a nap. And I was fighting with myself. It's so funny why are naps so hard? I think, especially in our culture, like naps equal laziness. And I don't know, I think maybe I talked about this in another episode, but I don't know if anyone else experienced this, but especially me growing up, it was like, you don't sleep in and naps mean you're lazy. And because it can logically make sense, if I nap during this time instead of using this time wisely to get stuff done, then I didn't get anything done. But we're forgetting that that nap is the rest the body needs, which is literally part of the path that's taking you to what you desire. It's part of the path, not like separate. It's not taking you away from the path. There's not, and that's a huge thing too to realize. A lot of these things that we do to take care of ourselves and tuning in and slowing down, we're getting away from the hustle mentality to the flow with your soul mentality, where it can feel really hard to slow down and rest if we need to, because that feels like we're stopping on the path and we're taking a break. But you're actually not. It's actually, if anything, accelerating you down your path towards your dreams, your desires. Like, say, if you're writing a book right now and you have this like deadline, or you're just set this goal of when you want to get it done. And so you have this set times that you need to work on it. But what if you have a day where rest would be better? And you're like, well, I feel fine. I feel like I could write. But then what if you chose to write then and not listen to what your body needs? What if what flowed through you wasn't really truly authentic? Because I'm assuming what you want to write wants to be authentic. You want to come from that space. But what if instead you said, okay, even though I accept that this is really hard because I really want to create right now, I really want to write. But when I ask my body what it needs right now, it honestly needs rest. It needs to be out in nature. I need to take the day off and take care of myself. And then the next time you write, your body is going to be a better vessel for receiving what you need to receive from the divine to then share and write. Not saying if, you decided to write everything you wrote was garbage, like not like that, but what if you had deeper insights if you chose to wait? Whew, man. Anytime I have like a channeled message that I share and I know it's like spot on for me and for others, I like literally feel my whole body vibrating. And I'm like, I feel like I just drank a bunch of caffeine and I'm like, get like shaking, but like not in a bad way. I know for me, I've had those moments where I've had to make that decision of not doing things and resting. Obviously, like I said today, I took a nap instead of doing stuff, but and it can be really hard, just like I said, slowing down and peeling the carrots, man. Whew, it's hard to slow down. But like I said, it just takes that consistency. This is you being aligned. And for me, the word discipline was scary, and it feels, I don't know. I didn't like the word discipline for a while. I'm not a very I'm a very fly by the seat of my pants, go with the flow, and a lot of it is I became a not even a type B mom, type C, I don't even know. Like you kind of have to when you start having lots of kids, and especially if you homeschool and stay at home with them. But being disciplined was hard, and I think because I couldn't be disciplined in certain areas, or it felt like I was struggling, I was like, screw discipline. But there are things where we do need that structure, and sometimes it can feel hard at first, but when it feels good and it feels aligned, like I know I can do this, just be easy with yourself. So you can be disciplined but be gentle with yourself. So if you have a whole day where you're like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot to become aware of my breath and to slow down, it was so chaotic, I'm failing, I'm not going to do this anymore. Like you just start again the next day. It's totally fine. And this is where I call on the universe to help me. It's always start from a place of authenticity. Like if this is hard, just admit it. We're not trying to be perfect. Enjoy being a human. It's messy, but it's beautiful. So, what I say in these moments that I'm struggling, I say, I accept that I cannot slow down without it feeling extremely painful. And I can't remember to slow down. I can't remember to be aware of my breath. So, I call on the universe to become aware of my breath and to slow down on my behalf. And so it is. And then it just kind of like, whew, kind of like the saying, put it in God's hands. Whatever word resonates, God, universe, divine, source. I kind of use all the words interchangeably, but, and then it kind of for me, it brings me a little relief. I know that I'm not alone in this. And I'm telling you, when you do that regularly, you'll start to see changes in your life. And it felt like, and it felt like you didn't put effort. Like you did, but you're allowing the universe to help you through these times. And it just feels a little easier. So I invite you to start adding that to your day, becoming aware of your breath just throughout the day. Slow down your motions when you remember. Become aware of your feet when you're walking. And that's it. So, as I always say, I hope that was helpful. because it's been pretty helpful for me, I will say. Still kind of in the painful realm of when I slow down, it's like, so I'll keep you posted. So thank you so much for listening. I love you all. Please don't forget to like, follow, share, comment. I would love feedback. I would love that. Follow me on Instagram, the Soul Workspace. And my amazing friend is working on my website, so I will soon have that. Because don't forget, I do one on one sessions. It's my absolute favorite thing to do. And if we can't meet out in nature, I can do them virtually. And it's, like I said, my favorite thing to do. And if you just need that little extra support on your healing journey, I am here for you. So you have an amazing day, guys. Give me feedback on how all that's working for you, the bringing awareness and being more present. And I will see you, or you will hear me in the next episode.